Let's start with a simple trophy plate. We'll start by selecting a new document. So now we have a blank page. Over here on the left side, we're choosing the rectangle tool. Before we've done anything with it, we want to go ahead and set the outline over here at the top to hairline. Hairline is interpreted by the laser engraver as a vector line, and it's usually used for cutting, sometimes used for marking. We'll go ahead and make a box with that box tool. And we're going to go back to the pick tool. You can either do that by coming over here and clicking on it, or you can press the spacebar to toggle between your last used cursor and your current used cursor. Just press spacebar to go back and forth. Now we'll press P to center our box. This is the size of our box. If we didn't have anything selected, it would tell us the size of our page. But when our box is selected, it tells us the size of our box. We want to deselect the lock ratio. This makes it keep this side in ratio with this side when we change this one. We don't want it to do that right now. We want to have it unlocked. Since we're making for a standard 2x3 marble base, our standard size for that is 2.75 by 0.625. And that's for all 2x3 marble bases. Now, we will start with the wording. Every trophy, every award actually, needs to have 3 basic pieces of information. And the way we type, of course, is by coming over here and choosing our text cursor. And so now we have our text chosen. But the 3 basic things that we need to know for an award is: what is the award for, who is the award for, and when is the award for. So we're going to go ahead and press center so that every adjustment we make from here on out will stay centered. And while we do not have it on the text tool, we're going to press P. If we had it on the text tool, it would type the letter P. And now remember, we made our box at 0.625, so we're going to go ahead and put the lock ratio back on because we want it to keep its ratio when we change the height. So we did our box at 0.625, so we're going to subtract 1/16 from that, and that gives us our size. And with that, we're able to break it apart after that. So we're going to press Control K to break apart. For the title of the award or what the award is for, I generally like to go with copper plate because it's nice and wide and it fills the plate very nicely. It's also got a good bold feeling to it, but it doesn't take up too much room for top to bottom. And this is for trophy plates, is what I'm talking about. For the name, the recipient name, I usually go with Callisto because it is very legible. You can bold it if you'd like to make it stronger, but for Callisto, I always come down here to the text properties and I change the percentage of the character spacing to 15%. And what that's doing is it's adding an additional 15% of the character size in between each letter. And now in between each word, there is 100% of the character size. We want to go ahead and increase that by half and make it 150. This allows for these letters to be a lot more legible, and you want the name to be the most legible. It also gives the name a little bit more girth so that it's a little bit more standoutish without taking up more height of the trophy plate. And then when the award is for, as long as the point is not lower or smaller than 12 point, I like to go with monotype for this. It usually comes out really nice and it just fits perfectly for a trophy plate. So now if you notice, our little F is dropping down below the box of the plate. So we've got to now align our letters. So we're going to the Align tool over here on the right side. And if you don't have any of these, the easiest thing to do is just press Control T that opens up the text box, and then after that you can come and choose additional properties. Align is position, or no, transformation is position, align is align and distribute. Those, I usually have those three: position, align and distribute, and text. So we're going to the align. We're going to select everything except for the box. We want to center horizontally, and then we want to distribute the space evenly throughout the vertical direction. So we're going to distribute space vertically. So we press that. Now we're going to group it. I use Control-G for this, and press P to center it again because our box is centered to the page. And if you notice, now our little F is no longer dropping down below the box. And you've made your first trophy plate. Next step is to make duplicates. Let's say we have 10 names. If we have 10 names, we want to go ahead and make 10 plates because it's an opportunity to double check that we're not leaving somebody out and we're not adding somebody twice. So we're going to go ahead and I'm ungrouping this because I want this all grouped in the same layer. As we go throughout learning how to do this, you'll see that there's a lot of layering involved in the grouping because it makes it easier for changes later on. So then, if we're doing it for metal trophy plates, we're going to come over here to go to transformations. And we want to make sure this check mark is checked. And if there's no number here, you're going to click anywhere else, but we're going to be going down to the center. We want them all lined up, straight up and down, and we're going to be going down. We have one plate, we need 10, so we're going to put the number 9 here, and then we will press apply. Now we have all 10 of our plates. I'm going to group it with Control-G, press P to center it, then I will ungroup it once. If you press ungroup all, it removes all of our layered grouping. So we're just going to ungroup it once. And this is now ready for you to start inputting names. And that's easily done with just copy and paste, or you can type in the names. So let's say we have our 10 names. We would just go to this. We select it from the other program, and we press Control-V. And then we go back to the other program, select the next name, Control-C, and then come back here, press Control-V, and so on and so forth. So this is set up for metal plates. Now let's say we want to set up for plastic plates. And remember, this should all be grouped, so we should be able to use it like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab it with the left click, and then we're going to drag it. And then with the right click, we're going to click once, and you'll notice a little plus button pop up next to the cursor. And then you let go of both clicks, and you have a copy of what you just did. Now we're going to design these for plastic plates. So let's do this. This is called a node, this little box that pops up when you reach the end. You see how it pops up a little box? Those are nodes. Those are the things that you manipulate to make your designs in the future. But you're going to grab the node, make sure that your cursor is in the shape of 4 arrows. Grab it, drag it, and it should automatically snap to the next node. And then we're going to press the right click and let go of both. Now we have to ungroup it because we want to work with just the box. And I'm actually going to pull it away, though we would normally keep it there, but I'm actually going to pull it away so that you can see what's going on. So this is our box that we created with the rectangle tool. It is not considered in curve formation. What that means is when we grab the shape tool and we grab the node, it's going to do special things up here. We can make it do a rounded corner, we can make it do a scalloped corner, and we can make it do a clipped corner. But we don't want that this time. So what we want to do is we want to press Control Q to make it into curves. So that's called converting to curves, and you can do it also here, Object, Convert to Curves. So now we have it converted to curves. That makes these nodes movable. If you notice, we can manipulate this design now. But we don't want to do that either. What we want to do is we want to get rid of this top line because it is being used to cut the plastic. And when you have it right on top of that line, it's 2 times cutting the plastic. So what's going to happen is you're going to get scorch marks on your plate. So we're going to right click and press Break Apart. It has both of them selected, so click anywhere else on the page so that it deselects them. Now you're going to look for the one going left to right, the arrow going left to right. Click on that. You see how just that one is selected? Press Delete, and now the line is gone. Then we will switch to our pick tool, and we go back to grouping the whole thing. And you wouldn't normally have to do this because I just moved it for the sake of visibility. But we want to move it back to where the node is matching that node. This way, when we're cutting our plastic, it will cut this one out first completely, and then it'll just keep cutting in this U shape. So now we're going to do the transformations, which is going to be making the copies for us. But we have 2 plates to start with, so we don't need 9 copies this time. We need 8 copies. You can either press the Apply button or you can press the Enter button. And then I usually group it after this with Control G, press P to center, and then I go about my copying and pasting like we did in the first time. Let's say later we have to come back and we need to grab just this one down here, and that was Ian's. Let's go ahead and put his name in there just so we know which one we're grabbing. So we want to grab just this one. So you're going to press P after you've ungrouped it once, and you notice we're missing that top line. If you send this to print like that, it's not going to cut that top line of the plate for you, so you need to add it back. So what we want to do is over here is our line tool. In the bottom right corner of our line tool is a little triangle. That brings up a little menu that allows us to choose from more options. What we want is this straight 2-point line. So click on that, and then come to the node on the left side, click, drag to the node on the right side, and then let go. Now we go back to our pick tool, and now we have our plate all over again, except it's ready to be printed individually. And again, I'm going to ungroup just once, and then group. That way my layering is proper. So now you can print your single plastic plate. Let's say that this group over here, we had set it up. I grouped it right now and I'm pressing P to center. We had set it up for metal. But then all of a sudden we decided, you know what? We need to change this to plastic. So we're going to grab all of the bottom ones, not the top one. We're going to press ungroup 1 time. And then we will come down. We're going to delete all these boxes. Now we have just the 2. This one is still grouped because we don't need to make any changes to that one. This one we're going to do the same thing where we press Control Q, grab this shape tool, right click on the node, break apart, click anywhere else, click on the arrow going left to right, delete that, go back to the pick tool, and then we're going back to our transformations. We already have it set for this direction, and we already have it set for 8. So we're going to press Apply. Now all of these are designed to be printed on plastic.